Um, Thank you, everybody who's joining this broadcast. If you're watching this by replay, thank you guys for being here. Um, I want to give you guys a second to join this broadcast. I am live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, I believe. I'm using a different platform tonight to go live for multiple platforms. So we're going to see how this works. Hopefully, this all works out really well. If you're in here, please comment in the chat, and hopefully, I'll be able to see those comments. I'm not 100% sure how that'll work, but hopefully that will work out fine, and I'll be able to see all of your comments. So I'll be looking for those. My wife is also going to join and let me know how this is all working out. So again, I wanted to thank everybody. Tonight, I wanted to share a little bit about the passing of my mom, which most of you know that I've been sharing that. Just a second. For anybody who's in here, I can't see comments just yet, so that could be a function of what's happening here or the fact that I'm new to this, to streaming from multiple platforms, and I just can't see the comments. Maybe it's me. I don't know. We'll see. I'll find out soon. Yeah, it looks great. Okay, my wife said it's working. Okay, great. On both. Okay, great. Well, sweetie, if you could make a comment to my wife, that'd be great because it'll let me know how this is working out. But again, I just wanted to thank everybody for being here, and I wanted to share a little bit about my mom. It's really difficult, obviously. The fact that my mom has passed just a week ago today, one of the most difficult things I've ever faced in my life, as most of you can imagine. So many people have reached out to me. So many people have called, text, brought food, and sent gift cards and cash apped us things just to, bless us during this time, make sure we didn't have anything extra to worry about. So I want to thank all of those people. If I start naming people, it would be too many people to name. And I know there's others who want to do something nice for us, and we just thank you for that in advance. But ultimately, I just want to share a few things about, one, losing a mother. There's nothing like it. Okay, so I don't know if anybody else out there has lost their mother. I'm sure there's some out there that have. I can definitely say there's nothing like losing a mother. People told me that. One of my friends, I asked one of my friends how he dealt with losing his father, and he said, well, it's different losing your mother. He said, I don't know, because to lose his mother, he said, would be much harder and much different. So that reality is setting in for me. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like a mom. You only get one. I have other wonderful mother figures in my life who I love so much, who have been there for me through so much, but there's nothing like my mom. And it's been very difficult. But I just want to share a couple things that my mom has taught me. I cannot see your comments, so I do apologize. I wish I could. Maybe I can put up here, at least on Facebook. I wish I could see your comments, because I do enjoy responding and engaging. Okay, what I just did just caused the comments to come up. Hey, long time no see. Hey, Jokina. Okay, now I can at least see on Facebook who's on. Jokina, long time no see. It was like we were just talking recently or something. See, my wife is on here. Danica, Sierra. Thank you guys who are on here again. So, to get to it. Okay, so let me just share. First of all, nothing like losing your mom. If you lost your mom, you know what I'm talking about. It's incredible. But some things my mom taught me that I want to live by, that I want to share with other people. One of the first things that I would say, most importantly, that she taught me was to be giving. People who know me know that I'm a giving person. I believe in giving. I believe in charity. I believe in my life's work is to give and to bless and to help others. And that's what I'm going to do, because that's who my mom was. My mom always said that you can't outgive God. She said you can't outgive God in that. What's Jamar? Love you too, man. Thank you. Jesse, what's up, my man? You can't outgive God in that every time you try to give more, God is going to give more to you. So she said you can't outgive God. She said you can't give all your money away. That's one thing my mom used to always tell me. You cannot give all your money away, because as soon as you start trying to give it away, God is going to return it to you and bless you in so many ways until you're just going to have more. Then you're going to give more, and he's going to give you more, and you're going to give more, and he's going to give you more. And she said you can't outgive God. And I thank God for her teaching me that, because it's a part of her legacy and it's a part of who I am. Giving is who I am. It's who I'm going to be. It's what my life is about. It's why I work to attain a level of wealth, because I'm going to give money away. I'm going to be helping people more. And this COVID-19 coronavirus crisis is not the last crisis we're going to see in our lifetime. We got to buckle up and get ready. Nothing like this has happened in over 100 years, but chances of something like this happening again are far too high. Be it the results of climate change, what may happen in the world, or be it result of illness or sickness or war, there are going to be so many opportunities to give to people. And then every day there's opportunities to give. Every day there's opportunities to help people. So again, I want to thank everybody who's blessed us and who's helped us. My wife and I are keeping a list. My wife started that. She's like, I got to keep a list of everybody who helped us. I'm like, babe, you don't have to keep a list of everybody who blessed us because they wanted to bless us. They don't expect anything in return. But I certainly know where she's coming from because our hearts are to bless and to give and be a blessing to other people. So giving is one of the things that my mom taught me to do. Another thing my mom taught me to do is be bold. She said, you can go boldly before the throne of grace, which is a scripture from the Bible, that we can go boldly to God and ask for what we want. We can go boldly before the throne of grace. She said it all the time. My mom said, whenever I was going through something, she said, son, you can go boldly before the throne of grace. Son, you can go boldly before God. You don't have to tiptoe. You don't have to act like you don't have access. You don't have to worry about not being worthy to go to God, because none of us are really worthy to go before God. We go to God because of his grace, because of his mercy, because he allowed us to have access to him. So she says, son, go boldly to the throne of grace. Whatever I was going through, she's like, you can go boldly to the throne of grace. You can go boldly before God. Son, go boldly to God and ask him for what you need. He will supply all of your needs. And then she would say, I am young and now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. I was young and now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread, which is also in the scripture. And she said it all the time whenever we were going through something. So my faith in God was developed and built from the strongest woman I've ever met. It was built from my mom, and she laid that legacy, and she taught us those things. So even now, while I'm grieving her loss, and I want to tell you guys, it has been a roller coaster of emotion. That's right, Sierra. She was speaking. It's been a roller coaster of emotion there's moments where I'm good, right? Like you guys are probably like, man, he seems good. And I am good. I am good. But I'm also broken. I'm also hurting. This is incredible. I made a post the other day about the fact that the other morning, my wife laid her hand on my chest. We were laying in bed and I was tearing up and I was crying and just thinking about my mom. And my wife laid her hand on my chest and she was praying. I didn't even know she was praying, but the pressure of her hand on my chest felt like it was holding my heart together. I felt like my heart was breaking, and her hand on my chest gave me comfort. And I was so grateful that she was there for me. And she said later, I was praying for you. She said, there was nothing else I could do but pray for you. I'm here for you. My wife, when I'm out of the room away from her for too long in the last few days, she comes and looks for me because she knows every now and then I go hide somewhere for a minute and have a moment. And she's not mad at me for having moments or crying or being upset or sad, but she wants to make sure that I know she's there for me and that she's supporting me and that I'm not in this alone. So I thank God for my wife, Corinne, who's on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sweetie. I appreciate your love and support. One of the things, you guys know, I wrote a book called The Man Manual, 10 Steps to Better Understanding Your Man. And in that book, I talked about women being able to handle a man's emotions. A lot of times in life, men are taught that they're not allowed to be emotional. And on the other side, women are also being subconsciously taught that men aren't supposed to be emotional. So while at times, if a man is showing emotion, it can be endearing or a positive. For some women, if a man cries more than once, it's like, you man, get over it. Now maybe for his mom, he can cry a couple of days, but then he has to get over it. I don't know when I will never be over it. I hope I don't have as many days where I have these tearful moments, but I know that my wife is there for me, and I thank God for her, and I thank her for doing that and being that. And to all the single ladies and all the married ladies, you have to be there for your man when he opens up and shows those emotions. And to all the men out there, you got to be there for your wives and your girlfriends and your ladies when they're showing emotion as well. So I thank God for her. So my mom taught me that I could be bold and go boldly before the throne of grace. My mom also taught me, hey, Danica, there's nothing more special than a praying wife. Corinne is beautiful and anointed. Absolutely. Absolutely, she is. Thank God for her. My mom taught me to laugh always, even when you've fallen. Okay, so we laughed at everything. We laughed at good times. We laughed during bad times. We were just a laughing family. We laughed. We enjoyed life. We laughed when people fell. We laughed at everything. We laughed during hard times. We laughed so we didn't cry. And when my mom went into the hospital 2 months ago on February 1st, it was because she had fallen and couldn't get up. And that was one of her favorite commercials. I've fallen and I can't get up. She had fallen and couldn't get up. And her hip was broken. When she went to the doctor and they did the x-ray, they said, your hip is broken. And, we were getting ready for her to rehab and come home. And then they started doing more tests. And they were like, it's weird because it was like your muscle pulled away from the bone. And that's what caused the bone to break. It was kind of a strange fracture. She didn't like fall and break her hip. Her hip broke and then she fell. They were like, this is odd. So they ran more tests and they found out that there was cancer in her bone, cancer throughout her body, cancer in her bones. And it was a very sad moment to realize that. However, in that moment, we still knew God was able. In that moment, we still were like, well, God's going to work it out. God's going to bring her home. My mom was 70 years old. That's an older age, but that's not super old. We certainly thought she'd beat this. She had beat breast cancer before. So we just thought she was going to beat this too and be home. She was going to rehab and be fine. But unfortunately, she never came home. After February 1st, she had never returned home again. And she fought it the best she could. And my mom passed away from breast cancer that had gotten throughout her body, that had returned and gone throughout her body. But even in that midst of that, we had some fun times. We laughed. We went in a room. She was entertaining us while we were visiting her as long as she could, at least for the first month or so. Whenever we came, we were laughing. We were watching The Young and the Restless, like that's normal mom stuff, sitting in her hospital room watching the shows that we watched before, laughing at all those people who are still on the show after all these years. And just having a good time. And we laughed and we enjoyed. And I know as soon as my mom got to heaven, the first thing she did was laugh. She was probably laughing at the thought, just seeing her parents, seeing her best friend, seeing other loved ones. She was probably overjoyed with tears and joy and laughter. So at moments when I'm down, I think of the joy that she's having, and it gives me a lot of joy to know that she's at peace and having that joy. Keen, all roller coasters must be built on solid ground, a solid foundation. God is that solid foundation. That is so true. That is so true. You honor your mother with your life daily. I thank your mother for sharing you with me. Thank you so much, King. Thank you so much for those comments. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your texts and your calls and your messages and all the love you've shared. It matters so much. Thank you so much, King, for reaching out. I really appreciate it. So she taught us to laugh at all things. So no matter what's going on, we're still going to smile. We're still going to laugh. If you guys see me like, man, he's laughing. He's so cool. Like, it's like nothing happened. I think some people probably be like, he probably wasn't that close to his mom. How could he be so okay? Because in your mind, you're thinking if it happened to you, you wouldn't be okay. Well, I was extremely close to my mom. One of my friends, my man Spud, if he's watching, my man Spud messaged me the other day. Victor Newman's still alive, right, Danica? How's Victor Newman still alive after all these years on The Young and the Restless? My man Spud messaged me the other day, and he was just, sharing condolences and love. And he said, from one mama's boy to another. And in that moment, I realized that when I was younger, I didn't like being called a mama's boy. I was like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? It was like soft or something, like mama's boy. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't know what that meant. Like, it was an insult, but I was a mama's boy. I love my mom. I adored my mom. I had the pleasure of being with my mom. They called us to the Cleveland Clinic. There was no visitors for over a week. So we had not been able to be there with her, which was so hard. And then they called us and said, things aren't going well. We are going to allow 2 people in. Come right now. How far away are you? And I said, we're an hour away. And they said, well, hurry. Me and my dad rushed to the Cleveland Clinic. We rushed up the elevator to her room. We got there. Things did not look good at all. She was literally taking her last breaths. And I had the opportunity to be there and hold my mom's hand, to tell my mom how much we all loved her, to name every family member I could think of and tell her how much we loved her. I played her favorite Marvin Gaye song on her pillow from my phone right next to her ear. I held my mom's hand. I laid over her body and I danced with her because she loved to dance to that song. And I spent those precious moments with my mom. Even in that crazy moment, I still found a way to have some joy and some peace. And the crazy thing about it is when my dad and I got there, we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And one thing I want to tell everybody out there is, just because you pray for something doesn't mean it's going to work out the way you want it to work out, but that doesn't mean it didn't work out. Okay. So me and my dad prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed that my mom would be saved, that my mom would be healed, that my mom would be resurrected, that my mom would raise and live and not die. And we prayed scriptures and we prayed and we prayed and we prayed. And this is like 20 minutes. So we prayed for 10 of them, let's say, nonstop, 15 of them, nonstop. And at some point I heard God saying, it was like, these weren't his exact words, but it was almost like God was saying, she's coming with me. She's coming with me. This is it. So I stopped in those moments, and that's when I spoke to my mom and danced with my mom. And as she lay there in the bed, body getting cold, getting stiff as she was taking her last breath, as her blood pressure was dropping quickly. But it was a blessing to be able to spend that time. But one thing I want everybody to realize is no matter what's going on in your life, thank you, Terry. No matter what's going on in your life, God is still God. Whether God does the thing the way you want him to do the thing or not, he's still God. A lot of people think, well, I prayed for something to happen. It didn't happen the way I wanted. Therefore, God has forsaken me. Remember that scripture my mom always said, I was young and now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. We weren't forsaken. We weren't left alone. God didn't fail us. God did God's will. God has a sovereign right to do what he chooses. And these human bodies are dying daily. And at some point, all of us are going to leave this earth. And that's just a part of the circle of life. And we have to understand that. So I have peace knowing that my mom was okay. And I thank God for those moments. And I thank God that he's just as much God. He's just as much God in not healing her on earth as he is if he would have healed her on earth. He's just as much God. He didn't stop answering prayers. He didn't forsake me. He doesn't not love me. I didn't do something wrong for it to not work out in my favor. It's just not the way it went this time. If you remember in the Bible, thank you, Tammy. If you remember in the Bible, Jesus prayed that he would not be crucified. Like, that's a crazy thought, because we're like, Jesus came to be crucified, and it was always the plan. But if you remember in the Garden of Gethsemane, shortly before his crucifixion, he prayed and said, God, if this cup could pass from me, let this cup pass from me. Like, I don't really want to be crucified. Like, that junk is painful. Is there another way? And he said, not as I will, but thy will be done. And God's will was crucifixion for Jesus, and that's what happened. He was just as much God had he passed that cup from him and not crucified him as he was crucifying Jesus. He's just as much God, whether he healed my mom on this earth or whether he healed her in heaven, because she's still healed, right? She's still got her healing because now she's healed in heaven. So I thank God for that. No matter what, I thank God for that. Another thing my mom taught me and my family, she taught us to think highly of yourself without thinking less of others. Think highly of yourself without thinking less of others. Hey, Troy. Thank you, Troy. Man, Troy Richardson is on this broadcast. Troy is a friend. Troy is a minister. Troy is our UPS guy in our neighborhood. And Troy said, I saw Troy the other day. He was dropping off a package at my neighbor's house. I was pulling into my driveway, and he said, I was praying that I would see you. I was like, what? He was like, I was praying that I would see you because I wanted to talk to you. I was praying that I could see you. And Troy stopped and stood in my driveway and talked to me for 10, 15 minutes and talked to me about how he suffered his brother passing, his mother passing, and his father passing within a span of a few short months, and how he came through it, how God was a comforter, how God was a mother to the motherless, a brother, a father, how he filled in all those gaps for him while he grieved and still grieves. He gave me so much comfort and so much inspiration. Troy, I want to thank you. I can't thank you enough for what you shared with me that day. To know that God is so thoughtful of me that he said something to you, and then he caused you to pray that you might run into me. Then he caused me to be pulling in my driveway right at the same time that you just happened to be here, was incredible. It shows that God is a comforter. God is controlling this whole thing. He's paying attention to all of it. And one thing we all have to realize, we're going to, hey, Lindsay, we're going to have to realize that there are going to be people that we know probably that die of COVID-19, the coronavirus. We are probably going to know somebody, and we're going to be grieving. And then we're going to go through what I've gone through, where you can't even be with the person. And then somebody else is going to go through what we're going through, where you can't have a funeral for that person. But God is still God. No matter what happens in this season or in any season, don't think God has forsaken you. God has not left you alone. God has not forsaken you. God has not stopped being God. He has not lost control. The devil's not winning. God is still God no matter what's going on. Okay? Because life could be so much worse. We're blessed each and every day that we have an opportunity to live on this side of earth, on this side of life, and then we have an opportunity to live with him in heaven forever. So I thank God for that. Thank God for Troy. Thank you so much for that time in that moment that you shared with me. So my mom said, I was saying before, think highly of yourself without thinking less of others. So she gave us great confidence in who we were, and she spoke so much love and confidence into me and my siblings and my family, so much love and so much confidence. But she always told us to be careful not to think we were better than anybody else. That's just not how we roll. We never think we're better than anybody else. I don't care how much money I have. I don't care how much success I have. I don't care how much God I have. I don't care how much nothing I have. I am not better than anybody, and I will never act or treat somebody as though I'm better than them. And I teach my kids the same thing. I don't even like my kids making fun of their friends when their friends is making fun of each other, and that's normal, because just at the off chance that one of their friends starts to think that my child thinks they're better than them, I don't like it, because that's not who we are. That's not our legacy. That's not our family legacy. We're not better than anybody. Our calling, our job, our duty is to help everybody. Okay, not to be, I can't help people if I think I'm better than everybody. So that's not how we live. That's not how we act. That's not how we move. So I thank God for my mom teaching me that. My mom also taught me one of the last lessons. I wrote these down because I didn't want to forget. And these are just things I was thinking of today. I know I'm going to have a lot more lessons from mom. I'm going to share them. Lucas's lessons from mom. Okay, we'll have a special. I'm going to go live more often. I'm going to share more videos. Right now during this season, with so many people being locked into, I want to help. I want to share. One thing I realize about myself is that my superpower is helping other people. So I feel more myself. I feel more like the child my mother raised me to be when I'm helping other people, when I'm sharing information, when I'm helping singles, couples, people trying to build their business, people struggling with their life, their kids, their family, whatever it may be, whatever's going on. If you need something, please don't be afraid to reach out. That's when I'm most myself. It is certainly a superpower. It makes me forget about all the pain and all the worry when I'm activated in helping somebody else. So I'm excited about it and continue to do that. So please stay tuned. I'll be doing more live videos. I'll be sharing other videos. I'll be sharing other content. And I'm really, really excited about it. Love you too, Tyler. Thank you so much. Ebony, hey, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being on the broadcast. So the other thing my mom taught me was catch problems further up the river. Catch problems further up the river. And this is just, like I said, just a few things that I thought of that my mom taught me. And my mom was an outreach worker at Planned Parenthood for a lot of my life. She worked at Planned Parenthood. And a lot of people can think of Planned Parenthood as an abortion clinic. And a lot of people, especially Christians and those of faith, believe that a Planned Parenthood is an abortion clinic. But my mom, she didn't want people to get abortions. My mom loved children. My mom loved babies. Many of you know me from McKinley Early Childhood Center. I worked there for years, from 16 to 30. I worked there for 16 years, starting as a before and after school teacher and becoming administrator and then executive director. And I worked there for many years. I started working with children. My sister worked there first, and then she got me in there, and then we worked with kids. My mom was working at a child care center for years when I was younger. My mom loves children. My mom loved babies. My mom, if anybody wanted to abort a baby, if she could have taken that baby and raised that child, she would have done it for everybody, because that's how much she loved kids. So working at Planned Parenthood would seem like a conflict, except she realized that her heart and her love for children and love for people would allow her to educate the community and allow her to teach so many young men and young women what it meant to be safe, have safe sex, to have self-respect and value themselves and value their bodies. So she went out and she taught and spoke to schools and groups of kids as an outreach worker, teaching them about these things and changing lives and saving lives and showing love to people no matter what circumstance. She believed in catching the problem further up the river. I remember her saying that often. She said, it's not about abortion. Abortion is way down the river. That's a problem way down the river. Let's start educating these young people about safe sex practices. Let's start educating these young people about self-respect so that they're not putting themselves in these situations. Let me go out here and educate those people. So I'm a person who tries to solve problems further up the river. I believe let's not wait till things are at such a bad place to start trying to fix it and save it. Let's help people right where they're at right now. So I'm excited to continue to carry on that legacy, continue to be the young man, the older man. I'm growing up and get a little older. My hair is gone now, right? Which I kind of like. It's so much easier. But I'm an older guy. I'm 37. I guess I'm not that old, but I'm not a child anymore. And she raised me to be a respectful, responsible young man, to love people, to give, to be charitable, to be honest, to have integrity. And I'm excited to live out that legacy. I want to make my mom proud. I believe in carrying on. I believe in, it's easy to say we'll die for somebody. It's much harder to live for them. I have to live for my mom. Life can seem too hard. It can seem overwhelming. Somebody out there is overwhelmed. They're depressed. Somebody doesn't know how they're going to live another day. Somebody is contemplating ending it all. I want to encourage you that it's harder to live for somebody than it is to say you're going to die for them. Live the legacy. Live for that loved one who you lost, who you're grieving over. Live for that person who you say you love. Live for your children who you love so much. Live for your family members. Live, 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 live. Um, Danica, she said, love the babies. I'm fostering sisters, 5 months and 3.5 years old. Proud foster mom. Danica, what you're doing is amazing. To be a foster parent is an incredible, incredible thing. So, so much respect for that. Thank you so much for doing that. For everybody who jumped in and joined, thank you so much, Monique, for being here. Monique, you and Ransom, love you guys so much. Always excited to talk to you guys and connect. For everybody who joined, Ebony, live the legacy. Absolutely. We have to live the legacy. That's what it's about. And I'm going to do it. Miss Viv, my mom, people who knew her knew she was loved. She was kind. She was stern. She was a mom. She was a parent. She didn't play. All right. She raised us. She raised us right, but it wasn't all Skittles and rainbows. It was like, you're going to be right. You're going to act right. You're going to treat people right, because that's how we do it. And it is an honor. And then she loved us and she cared. My mom believed in me when nobody else did. When I was a kid, they didn't think I could speak. I couldn't speak well, and she could understand me. So my mom gave me the gift of believing that I could speak up and speak out when nobody else believed. So I'm going to carry on that legacy. When I was younger, my coordination wasn't good. I couldn't jump. Something as simple as jumping when I was really little, and they thought something was wrong, and my mom believed in me. And one day I was able to jump and run. And one day I'm going to fly because my mom believed in me. So I always encourage people, believe in your kids in spite of their deficiencies. Believe in what they can do. Believe in what God can do in them, and believe in what they can do because you believe in them. My mom believed in me. At this point in life, nobody would have thought when I was little that I'd be a speaker for a living, that I'd speak and teach and preach and do all these different things and get to speak in so many different venues in so many different ways and have opportunities like this to speak to all of you. But my mom believed, and because she believed, I'm here today. So I thank God for that. Thank you again, everybody who joined. I don't know if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. I'm live on a lot of platforms. This is really cool. Unfortunately, I can only see comments on Facebook, and I'm assuming I'm seeing all the comments, but I'm not 100% sure. Thank you guys for joining. Again, I'll be on more often. Lorianne, thank you so much. Again, all the prayers, all the love, all the cards, all the gift cards, and all the things people have sent us and blessed us with, and it's just been so wonderful in this time where we're all isolated. I'm an extrovert, so it's a bit of a struggle for me because I like to get out and see people and talk to people and hang out with people and go have coffee with people, and it's a little rough, but we're gonna make it through it. We're gonna get through this season together. We're homeschooling the kids right now. My wife again is doing an amazing job. I jump in and help them out here and there with their homework and with their questions. And it's been a lot of fun. It's just been fun to spend time together as a family. To all my family out there, I love you. To everybody out there, I love you. And thank you guys for following me on this journey. Again, God has taught me and told me that my job is to tell about the journey while I'm going through it. It's easy to talk about what you've gone through when you're through it. It's harder to talk about it when you're in the midst of it. I want to tell you guys right now, I have great joy and I have incredible sadness. I have incredible joy and incredible sadness. I have incredible moments of clarity and peace, and I have incredible moments of pain and sadness and confusion. But God is still God. God is still good. God is still in control. God is still on the throne. God is still God. So I trust him, and I trust he's going to bring me through everything I'm going through. So thank you guys. If you're watching this by replay and you caught this, please like it, please share, please comment. Let me know if anything here helped you today. I hope that the legacy of my mom would be a blessing and would be a help to somebody out there. So I'm going to continue to share this as well as share other things. So please stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for being here. Everybody take care and have a great day.